Being around the guys we're talking about, I know how to challenge an athlete. I know how to motivate them. So sometimes I may get after them and, challenge them versus another player, or sometimes I may just love on them. And it's not I'm doing it for a show, but I honestly care about the kids. So
I'm wearing the Kobe's today, the girl dad Kobe's today, because I know that there's a really cool photo of you guarding Kobe Bryant early in your career. Played with some of the greats during even that couple years you were in the NBA. Whether it's Kobe or other teammates that you've had, what are some of the lessons that you've picked up on observing some of those elite superstars?
Yeah.
Highest level of their careers.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I talk about how hard I work, right? And, all of the work I put in. But when you talk about the Kobe's, I got to play against Kobe. I got to play against Jordan and LeBron.
Wow.
So, and played with Jason Kidd and guys like that. So you just see how competitive they are. You see their discipline. You see their work ethic. You see their IQ, right? It's every day, right? It's every day. They're consistent with that. And like when people talk about the NBA and you talk about the superstars, man, like these guys, like they check all the boxes.
Yeah.
It's no flaws in their game at all. Again, you got to be fortunate enough to be blessed and be in the right situation. But man, these guys that's doing it at that level, their attention to detail, their competitive nature,
Yeah.
and just their natural leadership abilities.
Yeah.
It's that's why they're 0.1 percentile, of human beings.
Yeah, I mean the what you just described, the discipline, the attention to detail, the work ethic, some of the natural innate leadership components that they were just, given, obviously the natural talents and physical talents that they were blessed with. It's that combination of motivation, capacity, ceiling, and the ability to then, consistently execute. I think that's so relevant and transferable to business, leadership,
100%.
life in general. It's always asked, hey, are leaders born or are they developed? Are entrepreneurs, born or are they developed? And I think there's a combination of intangible gifts that you are blessed with, as well as a certain level of work ethic, discipline, mindset, approach to detail that, really separates the Elon Musks of business from, the entrepreneurs, or the Kobe's of basketball from, the guy that just, didn't make it or wasn't willing to listen to coach in college, right? How much of that do you think was born within those guys? How much of it you think was developed, and what did you see with some of those guys that you played with?
I think it was evenly distributed, right? With that, they were born with, the speed, athleticism, and all those things to make you a good athlete. But they also, obviously, through their parents or coaches, they develop, how to work, what to work on, the competitive
drive.
Nature. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, they'll cut your throat off, right, to win a game. And
as a leader and as a coach now, how do you pull that out of your guys? How do you see that innate within your people?
Yeah.
Recognize that, but also pull it out of them.
Being around like the guys we're talking about, like I know how to challenge an athlete, right? Or I know how to motivate them, right? So sometimes I may get after them and challenge them versus another player, or sometimes I may just love on them. You know what I mean? So and it's not I'm doing it for a show, but I honestly care about the kids. So the same instance where I chose Marshall. Like kids will play for you if they know you care about them, and you believe in them. So, that's a God gift for me. I think for me as a coach to be able to galvanize a team, put them together, and get them to think they can run through a wall. Right? Just since I've been coaching high school basketball, first year I won the state championship. Next year Elite Eight. Third year runner up. This year, we made it to the Final Four.
Wow.
And I don't have, 5-star players either. I just got a bunch of kids that have run through a wall. So,
It's funny. I heard Coach K speak at an event, and he was talking about when he coached the Dream Team, and Kobe was on that Dream Team as well as LeBron and some others. And I think one of the assistant coaches was saying, "Hey, we need to figure out how to have these guys check their egos." And Coach K actually said, "No, I want them to have their egos.
Right.
Like
Right.
these guys aren't gonna, they're elite for a reason, and their
Right.
ego is part of it. Like I'm not gonna, put a damper on that. I don't want to put a
Right.
ceiling on that. We need to figure out how to harness it for the powers of good and point
Wow.
all those
I didn't
egos in
see
the
that.
same direction." And I thought that was pretty fascinating because
Yeah.
he realized if I'm trying to, there's no way I'm gonna, stifle Kobe's ego. There's no way I'm gonna stifle
Right.
LeBron. Like their egos is
Right.
part of what got them
Right.
to this elite level. And so he said, no, we need to figure out how they can let
Make
it
that
loose
work.
and unlock it together.
Together.
And I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty powerful because, a lot of times you hear ego is the enemy, and it is if you don't harness
Yeah.
it for the power or become self-aware of how it can, become
Yeah.
self-defeating in some ways. But
Yeah.
if you can channel it for the power of good and also have a more productive and wholesome why behind it,
Yeah.
it can be pretty impactful.
Yeah, I think that's why Coach K was special though, because being able to see that, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the separators in coaches, like guys that, it's just one way, then we're gonna do it this way with every team, every player I have. You struggle, right?
Right.
Because you got to coach
There
each
isn't
team
one
for what
size
you
fit
have.
all, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.